The first interstellar voyage carrying human passengers won't happen in our lifetimes, probably not in our children's lifetimes, and possibly not even in our grandchildren's lifetimes. Current research suggests that generation ships could become feasible 75 to 150 years from now, requiring technological developments and social changes that unfold across multiple human generations. The shorter timeline assumes sustained technological advancement, substantial increases in space industry investment, and strong international cooperation. The longer timeline accounts for probable delays, technological setbacks, and the enormous complexity of coordinating such projects across multiple nations and decades. Fusion power achieved commercial viability in 2025, but scaling these systems to generation ship requirements needs decades of additional development. Space-based manufacturing must evolve from building small components to fabricating kilometer-sized structures. Closed-loop life support systems require extensive testing periods to prove they can sustain large populations without external inputs. Space industrialization must reach massive scale before generation ship construction begins, and we're still in the early stages of this transformation. Current space manufacturing capabilities remain limited to small electronic components and simple metal parts, while generation ships require industrial capacity comparable to entire Earth-based manufacturing sectors. Asteroid mining operations must expand from experimental missions to routine extraction of millions of tons of materials annually. This industrial expansion requires sustained investment and technological progress spanning decades. The political and social conditions that would motivate such enormous investments don't exist yet and might take decades to develop. Generation ship construction costs exceed the GDP of major nations, requiring international cooperation on scales never achieved in human history. Political will and economic mobilization comparable to industrial revolution growth rates will be necessary. Sustained across multiple generations of leadership changes. Democratic societies struggle to fund projects that span multiple political cycles because elected officials face pressure to deliver results within their terms of office. Early prototype missions will test generation ship systems on shorter journeys to destinations within our solar system. Mars missions lasting 2 to 3 years will validate closed-loop life support systems and psychological adaptation strategies. Asteroid belt missions taking 5 to 10 years will test longer duration systems and multi-year isolation effects. Jupiter and Saturn missions requiring 10 to 20 years will approach the timescales needed for true generation ship operations. These prototype missions provide essential testing while building public support and international cooperation for larger projects. Interplanetary generation ships might precede interstellar versions by several decades, carrying large populations to permanent colonies throughout the solar system. These ships would use similar technologies while operating over shorter distances with possible rescue or resupply from Earth. Success with interplanetary generation ships would prove the concept, while building expertise needed for interstellar missions. Failure would identify problems that need solutions before attempting much longer interstellar journeys. The preparatory steps we might see in the next 20 to 30 years include major expansions in space-based manufacturing, asteroid mining operations, and fusion power development. Multiple countries will likely establish permanent space-based industrial facilities and begin routine asteroid resource extraction. Fusion power will transition from experimental reactors to widespread commercial deployment, eventually enabling space-based fusion systems. Large-scale space habitats will test artificial gravity and closed-loop life support systems with populations of thousands rather than dozens. International space cooperation will expand through treaties governing asteroid mining rights, space-based manufacturing standards, and eventual generation ship construction protocols. Space agencies will conduct increasingly ambitious prototype missions testing generation ship technologies on progressively longer timescales. Private companies will develop specialized technologies for space-based construction and resource processing. Public awareness and support for interstellar colonization will grow through successful solar system exploration and expanding space-based economies. Breakthrough discoveries in physics or engineering could dramatically compress development timelines by solving key technical challenges decades ahead of schedule. Room temperature superconductors would revolutionize fusion reactor design and space-based power systems. Breakthroughs in material science might enable construction of larger, lighter structures than current materials allow. Quantum computing advances could accelerate AI development and complex system modeling needed for generation chip design. However, breakthrough discoveries are unpredictable by definition, making them unreliable foundations for timeline predictions. Climate change or asteroid threats could accelerate development timelines by creating urgent motivations for interstellar backup plans. Severe climate impacts that threaten civilization stability might convince governments to invest heavily in generation chip technology as insurance against human extinction. A detected asteroid on collision course with Earth would create existential motivation for evacuation capabilities. Nuclear war, pandemic outbreaks, or other global catastrophes can similarly motivate crash programs in interstellar colonization technology. Most people alive today will not witness humanity's first steps toward becoming an interstellar species, but the foundations for that achievement are being laid right now through advances in fusion power, artificial intelligence, and space technology that make the impossible merely difficult. The timeline stretches beyond individual lifetimes, but the project represents something far more significant than exploration or adventure. The mounting challenges facing our home planet suggest that generation ships might serve purposes more urgent than the backup plan for humanity. These risks demand a fundamental shift in how we think about human survival. Every year brings new evidence that Earth faces catastrophic threats that could end human civilization permanently. The Yellowstone supervolcano could erupt at any time, blanketing the planet in ash and triggering a nuclear winter lasting decades. Massive asteroid impacts remain statistically inevitable over geological timescales, with civilization-ending rocks hitting Earth every few million years. Climate change accelerates beyond our ability to adapt, creating cascading failures in agriculture, water supplies, and social stability. Nuclear war between major powers could destroy industrial civilization and irradiate vast areas for centuries. Engineered pandemics or artificial intelligence systems could eliminate humanity faster than we can respond. Generation ships transform from luxury exploration missions into essential survival insurance against these existential risks. All 8 billion people currently live on a single planet orbiting one star in a galaxy containing 400 billion stars. A single catastrophic event could eliminate our entire species permanently, erasing 4 billion years of evolutionary development and destroying the only known example of intelligent life in the universe. This represents an unacceptable concentration of risk that no rational civilization would maintain indefinitely. The backup plan centers on 3 critical capabilities that 2025's technological breakthroughs finally make possible. First, distribution of populations across multiple star systems ensures species survival, even if individual colonies fail or home worlds become uninhabitable. Multiple generation ship missions spread humanity's genetic, cultural, and technological heritage across dozens of star systems simultaneously. Each ship carries 50,000 to 100,000 people, representing different ethnic groups, languages, religions, and cultural traditions. The ships travel toward different destinations across various distances, ensuring that no single catastrophe can eliminate all human colonies simultaneously. Second, preservation of human knowledge and culture occurs through multiple independent repositories that survive even if individual civilizations collapse. Each ship carries digital libraries containing humanity's accumulated scientific knowledge, literature, art, and historical records. Multiple copies ensure preservation, even if some storage systems fail during the long journey. More importantly, the ships carry living cultures practiced by actual human communities, rather than just archived information. Languages remain spoken, musical traditions continue through active performance, and religious practices adapt to space-based communities while maintaining essential elements. Cultural preservation extends beyond mere storage to active transmission across generations born during the journey. Children learn Earth history, study classical literature, and practice traditional arts despite never experiencing the environments that originally inspire these cultural expressions. Teachers adapt educational content to make Earth-based concepts relevant to spaceborne students who have never seen oceans, forests, or weather patterns. Art forms evolve to incorporate space-based experiences while maintaining connections to terrestrial traditions that define human cultural identity. Third, ensuring continuity through AI systems and closed-loop life support eliminates the single points of failure that have doomed previous civilizations. AI systems serve as immortal repositories of critical knowledge, maintaining ship operations across centuries without the knowledge loss that occurs when human experts die. These systems preserve essential technical skills, scientific understanding, and operational procedures that keep the ships functioning across multiple generations. Closed-loop life support systems create truly self-sustaining environments that can operate indefinitely without external resources, breaking the resource constraints that have limited every Earth-based civilization. Becoming a Type 1 civilization through interstellar expansion requires mastering energy resources equivalent to our entire planet's output while spreading across multiple worlds. The Kardashev scale measures civilizations by their energy consumption and technological capabilities. Generation ships represent humanity's first step toward Type 1 status by establishing self-sustaining populations that can develop independently without Earth's resources or support. Each successful colony becomes a launching point for further expansion as populations grow and technology advances. This technology transforms humanity from a single-planet species constrained by one world's resources and vulnerable to local catastrophes into a galactic civilization distributed across multiple star systems. Second-generation ships built by established colonies could reach even more distant destinations using improved technologies developed during centuries of space-based civilization. The expansion accelerates exponentially as human populations spread across galactic distances, establishing permanent footholds that ensure species immortality. The possibility of eventual contact between separated human colonies creates scenarios that exceed current imagination. Colonies established around different stars might develop communication technologies that reconnect scattered human civilizations after centuries of isolation. Ships launched decades apart might encounter each other during interstellar journeys, creating opportunities for trade, intermarriage, and cultural exchange between communities that developed independently. Advanced colonies might send missions to assist struggling settlements or establish contact networks that span multiple star systems. This vision connects directly to humanity's long-term survival and cosmic significance by ensuring our civilization persists across geological and astronomical timescales. Earth-based civilizations face inevitable extinction through stellar evolution as our sun eventually expands into a red giant that sterilizes the planet's surface. Galactic events like supernovae or gamma-ray bursts could eliminate life across entire solar systems. Only species distributed across multiple star systems survive such cosmic catastrophes. Generation ships may represent our species' most important technological achievement because they ensure human consciousness persists indefinitely regardless of local catastrophes that destroy individual worlds or civilizations. The knowledge, creativity, and cultural achievements that define human civilization continue developing across multiple independent societies rather than risking permanent loss through single catastrophic events. We transform from a temporary species facing inevitable extinction into a permanent fixture of galactic civilization that contributes to cosmic evolution across millions of years. The convergence of fusion power, artificial intelligence, and closed-loop life support systems has created an unprecedented moment in human history where these backup plans shift from theoretical concepts to achievable engineering projects. The engineering challenge has become remarkably specific, with 99.7% atmospheric recycling efficiency and functional direct dual fusion drive engines. 2025 transformed generation ships from physics problems into engineering projects. The technologies exist in working form rather than theoretical models. Fusion reactors generate net energy gain. AI systems operate spacecraft autonomously for years without human oversight. Closed-loop life support sustains large populations using only internal resources. The personal reality remains unchanged despite technological progress. Volunteering for a generation ship means accepting that you'll live and die during transit, never seeing the destination world that justifies the entire mission. Your children face the same fate. Only their descendants might walk on alien soil and breathe non-recycled air. Yet 3 key technologies achieved maturity in 2025: fusion propulsion, AI autonomy, and closed-loop ecosystems, making generation ships humanity's next great adventure rather